Let's start with our very first script that is already provided to us, which is password generator. This script generates a random password and it uses options L to set password length. It uses option S to add special character, and it uses option V to set verbose mode on. We are using the usage function, which prints the help message for the user by using echo to tell the user how to use the script and which options are being used in the script and what's the purpose of these options. And we're using the log function, which takes the argument, and it logs message passed as argument. Now when the log function is called, it actually um, assigns local variable message to those arguments and provided in the log function while calling. And then if option V is used, then verbose is set to true, and then it echoes that message to the terminal. We are setting the default password length of the password as 48 in case the user doesn't provide length of the password. However, if the length is specified by user using option L, suppose 6, then it will generate a password of length 6. We are parsing the command line options here by using while get opts and using case and these options v, ls, and question mark. For option V, verbose is set to true and log function is called with this message. And option L, length variable is set to the value of the argument which is being passed along with option L in the command line by using opt arg. We are setting variable use special character to true using S option here. And for question mark, we call usage function so that the user can see the help message if invalid option is being entered into the command line. And further, we are calling the log function to generate a random password, and then for the password we are generating a variable and assigning it the value by using date, seconds, and nanoseconds and random numbers, and piping it to secure hash algorithm 256-bit, which actually hashes that password. After hashing, it is further piped on to head dash c length, which means that first 48 characters of that password is being used in case default length is used. However, if the length is 6, then first 6 characters are being used for the random password generation. Now further, we are using option S to assign special character. Now the special character is this, and is from these special characters mentioned here. And then this is piped onto fold w1, which which sets these special characters one in each line, means in a vertical format. And then when it's piped onto shuff, it shuffles those characters and provides randomized characters. And had dash c1 further picks first character of the special characters list, and that first character is further added on to the password, and this is our new password. um, After adding the special character, now the log function is called here, and then password is shown on the terminal and exiting with exit status 0 success. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, so here password is generated, and if the verbose mode is on with option V, then it shows the random password. Okay, and for help we see that we can put H and it will give us all the options, like we can use L, S, or V. Now let's provide, because here we didn't provide the password length, so by default it provided us length of 48 characters. Now if we put password length of 6, see, it will generate a password for us with character 6. This is the password with length 6. Now if we want to add special character, we'll use the option S, and it will add this special character, the half parentheses at the very end of this password, and this is our newly generated password now. Okay. Okay, let's begin with our next script, which is password storage. Now this script stores passwords and unique random ID using relevant information like service and username. um, Now users can set verbose mode using option V. Option H is used to get help message. Option I is used to add random unique ID. Option S is used to provide service associated with password. And option U is to provide username or ID or email address associated with the service. And option L is used to set password length. Okay. We use usage function and log function just like previous script. We set the default password length here as 22 using while get ops to parse the command line options, and um, here's the case, and option V is setting verbose mode to true, H is calling usage function, I is setting unique random ID variable, S is setting service variable with help of the value which is coming from the argument alongside S option, then assigning variable username using option U, assigning variable length using option L, and further slash question mark checks if there is any invalid option, and if there is, it will print this message, invalid option, and calls usage function for help message. And colon option, it tells user if there is an option that needs an argument, and prints help message with help of calling usage function here. So the option VH and slash question mark and colon are used in a similar way in all the scripts coming ahead as well. Now here we are not generating the password, we are actually running this script pass generate, which will generate a password and then store the result of that script in this variable named password. Here we are using the length that the user is going to provide in command line, and as for special character added to our password. Using log function and checking getting the password on the terminal and then generating random ID. The way we're going to generate random ID here is similar to the other scripts as well, which are coming ahead, that we are actually using date, seconds and nanoseconds and random number to generate this ID. Now when option I is being used in any of the scripts, then unique random ID is set to true, which makes this whole condition true, and then if this is true, then this logic is run. We run log function and get these messages, and then we get the unique random ID generated and printed on the terminal with echo. Now we check if service or username is empty. Now if this service is empty, we check it with option Z, or if the option U is empty. So if any of the options is empty, means they don't have argument passed along with them, then we'll let the user know that they should enter arguments for option S and U and call the usage function for help message. Now this is the important part of this script where we are actually storing password and ID in CSV file using append with two arrows here, appending to our password storage file in comma separated format value, comma separated value format using service, username, password, and unique random ID separated by commas, and exiting with success. Now if we run this script, so we get the help message with H, then we turn on the verbose mode and generate random ID, and we set the service name as electronic arts if you want to buy video games, and then my username for the account is say sim11, and I want to set password length as 8. Now verbose mode is on, and generating a password is done. This is our password with length 8, special character is added, and this is our ID generated, and this is stored in our file. Now let's check file if this has been stored in that file. Okay, oops, my bad. Okay, password .csv. Okay, we see that Electronic Arts account with service with username, password, and ID has been added here in this file. Okay, now we see if we are missing any other option here. We have used U, L, S, I, V, and H. We have used all the options here. Another thing that if we want to like add a service, but we don't want to add any specific password length, then we can just simply put this command, and the password that is entered will be of default password length that I set, which was 22. So we can check that here. For Amazon, the default password length 22 is being used. Okay, now let's go on to our next script, which is listing. Okay, this script lists all stored passwords or passwords for a specific service. We're using option V to set verbose mode, option H to get help message, option S to list password for specific service, and option A to list all stored passwords. We're using usage function here and log function here, just like the previous script. Now we're parsing command line options using while get ops and using options V, H, A, S here. Now V and H and question mark and colon work same like previous script, and option A and S are being used differently. So for option A, we are setting the variable list all passwords to true, and then for option S, we are using value for variable service as the argument value provided along with option S from the command line using optarg. Now, if option A is being provided, we list all the stored passwords from the file passwordstorage.csv. So the way it works is that when option A is used, list all password becomes true, and this condition becomes true. Then we're using log function and use awk scripting language, which uses matching patterns and field separator. Here we're using comma field separator. And in this language, we are actually omitting the header by using nr greater than 1, which means the lines that are going to be printed should be greater than 1. So we are eliminating header from there from CSV file, and then we print the service and password with help of positional parameters $1 and $3. Because services are at positions 1 and passwords are provided in CSV file at position 3. Now after running this, we exit from this script successfully with exit 0. Now here we are checking if option S is provided, then password for specific service is listed. Now -n is actually checking if the length of the string is non-zero. So here for service, when option S is provided and there is an argument with option S, then if that argument is being provided, means it's not empty, then we actually go ahead and use the log function and then use grep command and pipe to match the pattern of the service which is being provided from the user from this file. And if this file is containing this matching pattern, then I would use awk scripting language and use field separator, and then print that specific service and password for that specific service only that is being provided in the command line. So using this logic here, there's an else statement. So if service is not provided, then we want to ask user to specify the service name, or else this won't work. Only help message would be generated using log using the usage function, and exiting successfully using 0 exit status. Now let's just quickly run password list. So what we explained in the script for password list is actually getting executed now to see how it works. We use H option to list this help message. We use verbose mode option with V option, and then I'm going to use A to list all stored passwords. So these are all the services and passwords from CSV file, and it prints with the message. Okay, now we further go ahead and print with specific service name. Say that I want for Yahoo. So here it's only specifying the password for this service name Yahoo. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our task script. So first script is task add. Now this script adds tasks to a list. Option V is used to set verbose mode. Option H is used to get help message. Option I is used to add random unique ID. Option D is used to set due date. Option T is used to add task description. Function usage and function log are used just like we did in previous script, and then parsing command line options with while get opts. And in the case the options v, h, and question mark and colon works the same way like previous scripts. However, the different options are I, T, and D. So for I, if we use option I, we set unique random ID to true. If we use option T, we set random variable tasks value as value provided for the argument along with option T using optarg. Similarly for D, the argument provided in the command line is due date, and I'm using formatting here to get the formatted due date and print it to the terminal by using this syntax here, logic here, using date and D, and then passing on the raw input due date from the user, and then formatting with the help of this y, m, and d %. And then I'm actually sending any errors if occurs to be redirected to dev null directory where they are not executed at all. And I will get my formatted due date. Okay, now if this due date is empty, means it is not provided, then the user will get this message of invalid date format, and will get help message with help of usage function here. Moving forward, we'll check if string is empty for mandatory options. Okay, now task is the mandatory option, means option T should be provided. If it is not being provided, means if it is empty, we're checking with -z, then user should know that they need to enter mandatory task description. Okay, and usage function is called for help message. Now if we are checking due date is not empty, then we use this condition here. If it is not empty, then I want to print formatted due date to my terminal. And we are generating random ID just in the same way that we generated in passwords scripts. We using the date, nanoseconds, and seconds, and random number to generate unique random ID. And once we use I option, this condition becomes true, and then we get our ID, which is generated, and using echo, it's printed onto the terminal. Now, this is the most important part of our task adding script, that we use append with double arrows and store or add those tasks to our tasks.csv file. And log function is used to successfully give us the messages, and then this is actually appended in comma separated value format. And we are exiting with exit status 0. Let's see how this script is executed. Now if we run this script with option H, it will give us help message. If we run this script with option V, it will turn on the verbose mode and D. Now since I didn't provide any argument with D, so option D needs an argument, gets printed on the terminal. Now if I do provide T, then I would provide the due date for the task. However, if I use option T here, then I would provide the task description. Task description is, I would say, networking project 4 is due on the date. I would give the date. It is due on November 20th. So it would give me the formatted due date 20th November, and then it says that adding done and successfully added task. Now let's see if task is actually successfully added or not. It is. So the networking project 4 with due date is added. However, ID is not added because I didn't use the option I. Now let's also use the option I here to add random ID as well. Networking project 5 is due on November 30th. And if we check here, so here networking project 5 is added with the due date of 30th, and this is random ID because we used option I. So I think we have used all the options V, H, I, T, and D. Now let's quickly move on to our next script, which is password listing. Oh, sorry, which is task listing. Now this script lists all tasks or tasks based on their due dates. We would use option V to set verbose mode, H for help message, D for listing tasks based on due date, A for listing all tasks, and 7 for listing tasks due this week, and 3 for listing tasks due in next 3 days. Usage function and log function are used in same way like previous script, and we are parsing command line options using while get opts. Here's our case where option VH question mark and colon are used like previous scripts. However, we have new options. Option A is setting list all tasks variable to true. Option D is used like previous script where we get due date input and we format it here using this logic just like previous script. For option 3, it sets list next 3 days variable to true, and option 7 list this week variable to true. Moving forward, we check if due date is not empty. If it is not empty, means it is provided, then I want it to be printed to the terminal using this message using log function. Now these are the most important steps in this script, where if we provide option A, then it lists all the tasks from the CSV file. With option A, list all tasks become true, which means that this condition becomes true, and then this log function is called, and then awk scripting language is used for field separator, and then using nr greater than 1 to omit the header line, just like we did in password scripting, and using and printing this message onto the terminal from this file, where we're using positional parameters from this file tasks.csv, and it will print all the tasks. If option D is used, then we are listing the due date. Then we will provide the due date. The user will provide the due date, and the tasks which are due on that specific due date will get printed onto the terminal. If due date is not empty, means we are providing due date, then log message will be a log function will be called. Then awk scripting language will be used with field separator. And here with this syntax, we are actually assigning the value for the variable due date in awk language as the value of the variable due date in bash language that we are using in script. And here we are checking if due date is equal to that positional parameter. Now this positional parameter is actually the parameter from this file, and if that is the due date, and if that due date matches the due date being provided by the user in the command line, then task which is due on that specific date will only get printed to the terminal. Once it is run, it will exit from the script successfully with exit status 0. Now here we are calculating the dates. Today we can get today's date with this syntax here with date ymd. For date for 3 days later, we can get with help of this syntax by adding 3 days, and 1 week later date we can get by adding 1 week or like 7 days to today's date, and ymd for formatting date correctly as we want. Now if option 3 is being provided, then we list tasks due in next 3 days. Now with option 3, list next 3 days becomes true, which sets this condition to be true, and then this logic is being run. Using awk language, assigning the variables value as the variable value in the bash script, and then checking if that due date is less than or equal to the date of the next 3 days. If it is less, then it will get printed, so which will give us the tasks due next 3 days. Okay, this is the operator being used to comparison operator being used here to check the condition. Now similar way, if option 7 is being used again, this condition becomes true, and then we are logging today's date, and we are further using awk language and assigning variables values in awk language as variable values in our bash script, and then further we are using comparison operator greater than equal to or less than equal to check if our due date is actually greater than today's date this week, or and less than next week's date, which means 7 days from now. And if it is true, then this will get consoled, or this will get on the terminal by using positional parameters from our tasks.csv file, and finally exiting from the script successfully using 0. Okay, now let's quickly run this. Using H option will give us the help message. Using V option will give us verbose mode. Using A option will list all tasks stored in the file. These are all the tasks stored in our file. And option V3 gives us all the tasks which are due in next 3 days, which means today is 14th, so we'll get all the tasks due on 15th, 16th, and 17th. If we get all the tasks due in next week, in this week, then we will first get today's date, and then tasks which are due um, on or less than 21st. So here we have all the tasks starting from date 14th of November going until 21st. Note that it doesn't have any task from 30th. Okay, so if we want our tasks according to specific deadline, now I want tasks which are on 21st, so it will only give me the task for specified due date 21st, which is my Python lab 2 on 21st. So we have run all the options. Now, oh, one more thing, if you run any invalid option G, it will give you here invalid option G because G is not being used in the script. And if you run D without any argument, because D needs a due date argument, then it will provide you here with option D needs an argument. It's like a help message for the user so that they know what is missing. Okay, alrighty, let's move on to our very last script, which is task delete. Now this task deletes specific tasks from the to-do list. User will use option V for verbose mode, H for help message, D for deleting task based on due date, T for deleting task based on task description, A for deleting all tasks. Now we're using usage and log function just like previous scripts. We're using options V, H, question mark, and colon just like previous scripts in parsing command line using while get ops. Here the option A is actually assigning variable delete all to true, setting it to true, and option T we are assigning the value to variable task description as value that is coming as an argument along with option T from command line, and D is used just like the previous script. Here I'm formatting the due date, and moving forward I'm just consoling it to the terminal, the formatted due date. And here I'm checking this is very important part of this script where I'm checking it options are not empty and prompting before deleting tasks. So if task description, due date, or delete all are actually not empty, means we are providing arguments with option T, D, and A, or this is or A, then this logic will run that user will be prompted with this message question that if they want to delete or not. If they say that yes they want to delete, then we would proceed and delete using further rest of the script. If they say that they don't want to delete, it's a no, then deletion will be stopped right there and exiting from the script successfully. Now if option A is being provided, which means user wants to delete all tasks, then it will be removed forcefully. The tasks will be deleted forcefully, removing the file forcefully. If the user is using option T, Then task description is not empty. Then SCD editor is being used with option D here, which will actually delete that matching line from this file, and then writes the output to a temporary file. And this new output, which is written in the temporary file, will not have the deleted task. It will have all other tasks. And then further, the temporary file is renamed with MV to the original file name tasks.csv, so that when we run it, we'll have the new content, but with no deleted task in it, because that's the whole thing that we want, right? So we are further deleting task based on option D, similar to option T. If due date is non-empty, means a value or argument is provided along with the option D, then log function will be called, and then SCD command will be used. D will be used to delete that due date matching pattern from this file, and then further the temporary file will be generated based on the new output, and then finally that is renamed with the original tasks.csv file name. So this is similar to overwriting the files with desired content in other languages like Python and JavaScript. So we are finally exiting out with status 0 success. Let's see how it runs. Task delete, and H option will give me the help message, and then V option will give verbose mode, and then T option will actually need an argument, which is specified description. And if I provide specified description as Python lab 2, do you want to delete? No, it will not delete. Deletion will be stopped. If I say I want to delete, yes, then it would say deleting task with description Python lab 2 and task with specified description deleted. Now if we want to check that if it's actually deleted or not, we will check it, and the Python lab 2 is actually deleted from this file. Now if I want to delete this task based on the deadline, so I would say the due date is November 15th, but I want to delete it. Okay, so yes. So now task with due date 15th of November is deleted. Now let's check. See, now here it was 15th and there is no task with which is due on November 15th. It is deleted. Okay. So hopefully we have used all the options here. TD, or the last option is A. Now if I use option A here, it will delete all the tasks. So deleting all tasks deleted. Thank you for watching the video. Have a great day.